Welcome to Keep On Cybertrucking, a podcast where Cybertruck owners share their experiences, talk all things EVs and technology. My name's Eric. We have Chase and Will here as always.
Well,
How are you guys?
I'm enjoying this brand new Yeti microphone, but Chase sounds so much better on his.
It's the same microphone, right?
Oh
The
my
Yeti?
god! Listen to that.
You
so
gotta
good.
you gotta tune it.
I literally just it's out of the box when I turned it on.
Yeah, no,
Chase I'm not even happy with where it's at officially, but it's like there's so many knobs in the software, like the Logitech software you can run with it.
Yeah, now I'm the only guy with this little mic right by my mouth. You guys are all official podcasters, and yeah.
You spoke kindly of the beard one time, so I was like, I need to give everybody the full effect, no obstructions, none.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no denying you're the Hollywood on the podcast. Digging in and getting into some of our stories from the past week, things that we want to talk about. First thing is there was an unfortunate, I'm assuming is a Turo renter.
Before you get too far, are you broadcasting? Because I'm on the YouTube and I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, it should be.
Okay. Yes, it's on the YouTube.
Yeah,
on the YouTube.
I'm like an ancient person. I'm like, get on the YouTube.
I'm looking at it right now. It says it's live. We've been live for a minute, 5 seconds, and that we're public.
It'll start screaming at me in a minute then. Okay.
So let's hope so.
Yeah, this one's really cool. Isn't this the I believe it is. Yeah, this is the story that oh no, this is James. This is the guy we had mentioned that I met. Remember James Mackey?
Oh,
from Houston?
Yeah.
Yeah, he rented this out. I don't know if it was on Turo or off Turo, but he did have it rented out, and then it was from a prospective driver that was going to be buying a Cybertruck as well. I think he has a Cyber Beast on order. And the guy had he felt really bad, obviously, because I think it was just a terrible situation that happened right after the hurricane that came through. So it was flooded, and he hydroplaned and ran into something, I forget, maybe a wall or something, but very interesting. I would love to follow up with him, and we could maybe even see if he wants to talk about the story here. But
that'd be amazing.
I really want to know if the driver was using the slippery mode or not. Because that definitely
this is during the storm, right? The big storm down a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
exactly. So, but this is a good update though. So, estimate is 28,000 in 7 weeks for the actual repair. This is new information.
And he does state that it's been about 3 weeks sorting out the estimate, so dealing with the insurance companies, collision places, and I would expect it would take that long, just given the fact that these collision repair shops don't have much information or experience dealing with the Cybertruck. Obviously, the insurance companies don't have much experience dealing with Cybertruck accidents. And so, I thought it was very interesting because you're talking about $28,000 repair job, and it looks like it's just the front passenger fender, obviously the front end because of the damage to the front and light bar and bumper, but it's not a massive amount of damage, but it's still 28,000.
Pretty high.
Shout out to that windshield. Look at that thing. It's still completely pristine.
Yeah, it goes back into the whole idea that I don't know exactly how bad this accident was from what they hit, but I mean, it's minimal damage if you really think about it. I don't know.
I still maintain. So this is going to be something that'll be good to start to get into, because now that we have enough Cybertrucks on the road, we can start monitoring. It's because I think that they went towards the Cybertruck when it was first announced, and it was at the aggressive prices that it was, like 40,000 for a single motor, 50,000 for a dual motor, and everybody was kind of wondering how they could achieve that kind of price. And it seemed like in those early days of the Cybertruck, the pitch was, it's going to be the manufacturing process, because we created the stainless steel and we have the gigapress, and we're coming up with a new way to manufacture this. This is kind of the early days where I'm like, okay, looking at that kind of damage on a car that is already, limited access, that it's 28,000, which is, no slouch as far as cost, but it's only 3 weeks. I've never heard of Tesla body damage having parts in less than a month. I've had body damage repair through Tesla, and it required well over a month to get it all handled.
Well, he is saying 7 weeks. It took him 3 weeks to get the estimate.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds more accurate then.
Yeah,
but still,
7 weeks.
I mean, 7 weeks does sound, and that's going to be the kind of the pain in the ass. But I do think that we're going to start seeing what I hope is Tesla being able to say, yeah, this was our goal to get this as a manufacturing process for the Cybertruck, so that we could bring that to more of the vehicles, but also so that our body parts manufacturing cost reduction matches, a shortened period of time. So my hope is that it's like we get to start seeing how Tesla's plan was or will be when it comes to, okay, we're going to have parts super available more quickly because it's easier to produce or faster to produce, and then where that leads them with that manufacturing process and how they integrate it to their other products.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be very interesting to see how they deal with Cybertrucks, because it's like what we were saying a little while ago. It's unknown. That not a lot of people have worked on them and dealt with this type of thing, and so it's just it's going to be super interesting. I mean, I just feel bad for this guy, because this is exactly what I told you guys. You guys were doing Turo, and
100%.
And I kept saying I'm not doing it because this is what I feared. And to be honest with you, you don't really hear a lot of this, right? Where people are renting out on Turo and then they're coming back damaged or any type of situation. So I've played with the idea, I've toyed with the idea in my mind of like, should I just do it? But still never pulled the trigger, and because this is what I feared. So.
And ironically, I did have a rental around the same time that the hurricane was supposed to reach here in Austin. And they were going to have it for that day. So that was one of the things I did, is made sure to go over wade mode as well as the slippery surface mode. And I'm like, God forbid you ever have to use this, but I want you to know how to use it if you get into a sticky situation. Thankfully, it veered off like 90 miles to the right and totally missed Austin. Like, it was sunny and shiny all day. So
yeah. You get the clear skies while everybody else gets hit with the hurricane. It's always the weird thing. Growing up in Florida, it's like our weather is nice. Kind of sucks to be Miami right now, or whatever.
Well, that's how it was for me when I was in Florida. What was it, back in June? We went into Fort Lauderdale and it was chaos, and then we drove up to Orlando to fly out. So, yeah, 100%. Real quick, we have Jay. Jay is in chat. Jay is here watching and listening. So, as always, Jay,
what up, Jay?
We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Next thing on the agenda was I wanted to show. We've been talking a lot lately about the light bar and how Chase got his light bar, and how he's liking his light bar. But there's some images of the official Tesla light bar that have surfaced. And so I kind of want to just talk about these and obviously get Chase's input on this, given the fact that he has his light bar, aftermarket light bar, and kind of give us your pros and cons and what you see so far.
Totally. Yeah, I think I mentioned before, it comes down to cost. I think that'll be the final question that we need answered for sure. But there's a big difference in capability. You notice how we didn't really see it in a lot of the photos before, because it is black with the light off, so it kind of falls into the windshield, and we really haven't had any close-up photos like this before. But as far as we can tell, it's actually like some kind of adhesive sticking it to the glass itself, and then up to the top left of this photo.
Yeah, let me change the photo. You want me to change the photo on this one?
Yeah, you can change the photo. I think I know which one you're talking about.
You want the one with the tape?
Sure, yeah.
This
shows
one?
that. Yeah, somehow getting that adhesive to dry, so they taped it in place.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that could be a good and bad thing. Obviously, it's good because it kind of minimizes the profile of having a light bar if you really want that sleek look. But bad thing is that it's basically glued to the window. So if you ever had to fully replace your windshield, you also have to like reapply the light bar adhesive, which could be a pain or extra money. Capability wise, there's a big difference between using the OEM light bar. From what I could figure out that is in their manual, is that it gets wired up hardwired to the truck, so it doesn't actually use the power feed that we know that's up at the top, that we actually have a switch for. Now the T-Sport line light bar does, so that's actually what I've wired it to, and that's how I have to turn it on and off. This is actually hardwired to the lights of the truck, so when you're only in off-road mode, you're able to activate the light bar, and then supposedly what it says is that it actually functions along with your brights. So as you're going along in off-road mode, if your brights kick on, so does your light bar. One last thing, there's like on the sides, they said it's like directional ditch lights on the edges of the light bar, which is kind of a nice feature. Outside of that, I mean, some really kind of nice built-in features for the OEM light bar that could make or break the situation. But I know I just literally in one of the Facebook groups had a conversation with someone who just got the T-Sport line light bar today and was talking about it, and he didn't know the functions of the OEM one, but one thing that sold him on only getting the T-Sport line one is the fact that you can't actually use this light bar in like on the street. Like it's gated behind the off-road mode because it's hardwired through the software.
Okay, so you cannot use it any other way other than in off-road mode. That's
as far as we can tell. Which in his case, I think is a valid case to use it on the street, even though most places it's illegal to use that. If you're out in the country and you're driving on the road and literally there's nobody out there, you would rather have like that light. I've done that in the same case around our place where like there's streets that are like still under construction and it's late at night and there's tons of animals that run around, and I'll just, if going down the street, I'll flip it on. I usually would do the same thing as I would with my brights. So it's like, I'm not going to like blind somebody with the light, but because it is pretty bright and it has a pretty far throw. I would say like maybe like 300 feet of a decent throw. So it's pretty bright.
This is one thing I noticed too, is I know that you had mentioned when you had yours installed and we were sharing pictures on a few podcast episodes ago, that how one of the differences between the OEM and the T Sports line is the fact that the OEM goes from the full width of the Cybertruck.
Correct, yeah. It goes end to end.
And then I'm noticing here as well in this photo, is it tinted? The front of it is like, it doesn't look like there's a light there. I think you're right. It's blacked out, which I like that from an aesthetics standpoint, but at the same time, I think it's also kind of cool to see the light up there. So yeah. I don't know how I feel about it yet.
We talked about it. I could probably even share a couple more, but I did get some cool photos over the weekend of the light on, especially at night, because I was kind of curious and I found a parking garage that was empty.
Yeah, let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. Here you go. Yeah, that just looks super cool.
This is a T-Sport line.
That just looks really, really awesome, in my opinion. Just having that light bar up there and just illuminating it, it's really, really cool. That's something I'm looking forward to doing. I just haven't decided which way I want to go. I think what I'll do is I'll end up waiting to see what the OEM actually looks like in pictures like this, setups like this, and then I'll make my decision at that point.
Yeah, functionality, like I know it gave T-Sport line a lot of shit for the weight that we had, but I think value to quality and what you get out of this light bar, I think it's totally worth $750. So 2 thumbs up for me.
Well, there you go. A raving endorsement from Mr. Chase on T-Sports line. So even though you were pretty pissed leading up to it. So
I mean, it was like 3 months.
I'm glad that they made it right for you. So yeah, so I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see as more accessories come out for the Tesla Cybertruck. Another thing that we wanted to talk about was
I was going to bring attention. There's a good question in the chat on YouTube. Is it Sliam Tech I hope I'm pronouncing whatever that is correctly. He was mentioning, unrelated, but he's wondering how difficult it is to order parts for the Cybertrucks living outside of Tesla's market zone, like Africa and stuff.
Good question. Like,
It's
yeah,
like,
if you somehow shipped
some of
one out
these
there,
trucks, like the one that was in China, like if they did try to pull
Or
it out of the
Dubai.
dunes, but the one that was in the desert in China that got wrecked, it's like, okay, so where do you take it to get it repaired? Where do you even start? It's not supposed to be there, which is probably why they just abandoned it. They're just like, eh.
Yeah, it really does become a one of those situations where it's like, yeah, what do you do? How do you? Number one, that vehicle is not supposed to be over there, right?
Mhm.
they're
And
not
so
shipping technically.
yeah, so there's going to be no support. I think he even mentions that in Kenya, he says a few guys own Teslas here in Kenya, and autopilot doesn't work. Yeah, they're not going to have any of that road information.
I remember
data.
some of there was it was like back in before Tesla really expanded aggressively in Europe. I remember seeing vehicles, I think it was like 2017, 2018. I remember seeing vehicles showing up in Eastern Europe and a lot of these countries where it's like Tesla has zero presence. There are zero superchargers or level 2 or level 3 chargers in those areas anyway. And also Tesla has zero presence there. But then there are people who are getting their hands on Teslas and driving them there in crazy places. So yeah.
I mean, in all honesty, if you have the money to be able to ship the car out there in the first place, you probably have enough money to find the means. Yeah, because I'm just thinking of like the one that showed up in Dubai is like, who knows what the shipping on that would have been. Or at the time that they bought it, it was so new that we were still seeing like trucks well over $150,000, if not 200 at the time. So it's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. Real quick, I want to just say hi to LJ and Hugo. They're in chat. Appreciate you guys being here all the time, every week. So just want to give you guys a quick little shout out. Now, I was talking about some accessories, and there was a really cool accessory that if I was to buy, I 100% want to do a video with Will with this accessory. So let me go ahead and pull this up. I don't know if you guys have seen this.
This could go any number of ways. I may be disconnecting really quickly here. Hang on.
Here we go.
All right, so, what is that? What are we doing?
We need to make sure it's charged before we use it, okay?
Oh my god.
So Tesla has officially released their microphones for their, how they have their karaoke. Inside. Yeah. And so now there's microphones. Now we can sit there, Will, in the Cybertruck,
dude,
and sing our hearts out,
Finally.
I know you have a voice.
We can share Taylor Swift, harmonies.
And with the Cybertruck, you can hook it up to the megaphone, so you can have the truck blaring everyone's.
Punish everybody. I like it.
Yeah, this is hilarious. This is hilarious. $215.
Oh, $215?
Why not? Right?
Speaking of the megaphone, they need to push out an update where you can have volume control, because it needs to be louder, and you need to be able to tune it.
Yeah, we've been pretty disappointed. At one point, my wife and I went to go visit my wife's sister, my sister-in-law, and we wanted to pull up and be talking to her through the speaker on the outside of the Cybertruck. And we did that. We enabled it, and she couldn't hear us. It was, we weren't speaking loud enough, and she couldn't hear us. So
I would like to. I will take one issue though here and that is. So this has been my ongoing thing about all these car companies are going to have to start competing for the in-cabin experience, the passenger experience. It'll be the software, the hardware, the passenger's passing time if the car is truly driving itself. So the fact that it's like I appreciate that they're doing the microphones, the karaoke is something that's that Tesla's kind of put into the car, and we'll just dabble with it and stuff. But there's still a part of me where I'm just like, I really hope that they get their eyes on the ball with what is essentially, you've got your passengers in a vehicle that if it's full self-driving, it's driving themselves. So people are going to be bored and they can only look at their phones for so much time.
Yeah.
You might want to add amenities to it. And with Tesla, it's like they've got so many software and apps and things that only work when parked And obviously, you know, the having those apps working eventually is to come, but for right now isn't there. You know, I appreciate that they're doing like the microphones, but I really would love to have seen. I still am like grumpy that they sold a bunch of cars telling people that it would run Steam games. And then suddenly they just pull Steam support. I'm like, that would have been a great moment to, you know, swing in and be like, actually, we're going to do this other thing instead. We're going to, we're going to have we're actually going to have support for iOS apps somehow, or we're actually going to install Google Play so that it'll allow you other mobile games in the, like, none of that happened. Like, I want to see cool stuff like that. I'm back to like, okay, cool. You know, we're still in the future. Some cars are flying, or maybe the Roadster will someday, but you know, like, I get the microphone is cool, but nobody needs a microphone in the car. You're 4 feet from each other. So,
but Will, think about this, right? We can literally put the windows down.
Yeah.
Okay. You and I stand in the back of the Cybertruck.
Mm-hmm.
Turn the volume up.
Yep.
And have a whole just have a party, a karaoke party.
So yeah, I'll even do I'll do a counter offer. We do denim vests, some sort of a hair piece that is mostly mullet, spray painted with an American flag somewhere in there, and we just ride around and just like the guitarist from Mad Max Fury Road who's just shooting flames out of the guitar. Like that's what we're gonna do. That's gonna be us.
And that's gonna be our road trip to Austin to go see Chase.
The whole way.
Proof.
The whole way. Chase will be like, well, I wonder if they're here yet. And he'll hear the flames shooting.
He'll hear us from 2 miles away.
Slayer's Raining Blood is playing at the distance. He's like, what is that?
Hell yeah. I proof.
He approves. His wife is going to go, who the hell did you invite over?
It's okay. She'll lose by default because the kids will be completely into what is happening in front of their house. Like when we show up, flamethrowers, just be like, oh, that's cool. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Thankfully, my neighbors should be okay because like they already see like a tricked out Cybertruck, so this is normal to them. They're like, if another one shows up, they're like,
it's Texas. 2 dudes with flamethrowers in the back of a pickup truck will be raised on their shoulders and paraded around town. It'll be amazing.
I don't know if I mentioned it on the pod, not last weekend, but the weekend before. I did. Did I talk about the AGT? Not the AGT. Sorry, the photo shoot.
The one that you're doing this week.
Not this week, but a couple weeks back, we did another photo shoot where I had 3 guys like full body harness strapped to the bed, going down the highway with cameras and stuff. So we were shooting like two Lambos and 2 Ferraris going down the highway for like some promo shoot. It was a lot of fun.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It reminded me of the whole like flamethrower in the back of the Cybertruck. So
I like how the Cybertruck is now a utility vehicle for photographers and videographers, right?
It really is.
It's like the perfect vehicle.
You have power in the bed and so many things.
I'm so, you know, the film industry has some of the coolest mad scientists that I've ever met in my lifetime. And I guarantee you that when the price comes down on a Cybertruck, you will see one rigged up with a they used to call them, I'm not going to call it what it used to be called because everybody renamed it Ukrainian arm because it used to be called the other country's arm. But it's a car mounted jib system that you can set up with a camera mount on the front end, 360 stabilized head, and they will build it into a Cybertruck, and I guarantee you we will see it at some point soon. Because considering the 100%. Low center of gravity and the fact that so much of the vehicle is accessible for somebody to just go into the guts and weld something directly to the footings and everything, I look forward to seeing the Ukrainian arm on a Cybertruck. Because also, electric, it's silent as hell. It's already got so much power that will be able to be tapped into from the rear electricity. It's going to be awesome.
It's a Cybertruck, and I've been saying it for months now. I love it. It's the perfect vehicle for everyone. Everyone could utilize the Cybertruck.
That's right.
It's a good utility segue, if you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-oh. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, never mind.
Because I had a segue. My segue was going to be...
Okay, go for your segue.
It's like teeing him up, and he's like, for what?
Yeah, sorry. I already had my mind made up.
No, you're good.
The battery cells
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The dry cathode 4680 cells, which is something that I've been talking about a lot in some videos about how the Cybertruck is only going to get better with time. And one of the things was getting more efficiency out of the batteries, right? And now, in some ways, it's a bad thing for early adopters because you're technically now an older battery, right? But for future owners of Cybertrucks, they're going to be getting the new dry cathode 4680 cells in their batteries. So, what do you guys think about this? How do you think this will improve the batteries on the Cybertruck moving forward?
I guess that's what I'd be curious about. Like, what's the delta of improvement? You know, that's going to
Well,
be
they're saying that it's advancing both technology and cost efficiency. So, is this going to do anything for performance,
right.
or is it going to do something for pricing?
I think it's the latter, if anything.
I feel like it's going to be pricing.
Yeah. So if it is pricing and maybe not so much performance, that's okay still, because then that gives Tesla potentially the opportunity to get rid of the Foundation series sooner, which will help people get in. You know I get a lot of comments from people on my videos that state that they are excited to get their Cybertruck, but they're just waiting for Foundation series to officially end to where they can get that $20,000 reduction in price. Yeah, they're losing some features and some things, but they're okay with that. They just want to get down to that $80,000 mark, and that is going to push them into ordering. So does this help push that a little bit sooner? I'm not sure.
Especially the single motor, which is going to be what, 57 after savings or whatever. It's going to be 60K.
Yeah, so
I think that's going to be necessary.
So
yeah, but are you really doing that, Chase? Are you now doing with the savings? You're falling into that.
I'm just bitter.
Savings.
I'm bitter that I can't get my whatever $7,500 federal tax credit.
Yeah, I'm looking. I'm looking
So
at it right now.
60K now before quote unquote savings.
Yeah.
So 60,990.
And available in 2025, which would make sense why cathodes are coming a little later than the first Foundation series, but right on time if they wanted to put it in these.
I will say this as the resident Tesla historian, I guess. Tesla has always, there's always been a part of the conversation in the Tesla community that acknowledges when everybody's like, it's a luxury vehicle when you were back with just the Model S and the X, and the way that people perceived electric vehicles for a long time, they were viewed as luxury vehicles almost entirely because of the price tag. And the price tag back in the day was, they struggled to sell as many cars as they potentially could because the kilowatt per hour per price was something like $190. Was it $190 per kilowatt hour or something like that? Let me see if I can do the math. Yeah, because
it's like a price per square foot.
Yeah. It used to be like, basically the price per kilowatt hour because you were filling it with those 1650 cells to make up the huge battery pack. So they strove for the 4680 cells as the part of the battery day pitch was because it's okay, if you need like literally tens of thousands of 18650s, if you could make 4680s, which are larger, and make fewer of them to achieve the same kilowatt hour, you could see more cost reductions. And they've been chasing that for so long that now this idea of also doing the dry cathode, if it can reduce their costs more, that's not just Cybertrucks, that's all other vehicles across the line could see a price reduction. And Rivian started selling their R1s at a lowered price because they were saying they figured out ways to trim a significant portion of their costs in the battery production process. This is Tesla kind of responding in kind, being like, okay, this is the thing that's going to limit our vehicles as far as cost, because $190 per kilowatt hour on 123 kilowatt hour vehicle like the Cybertruck is $23,370. That would have been like, if you were trying to sell a $70,000 car for 23,000 of it is just the battery. Like, you're going to have trouble adding features and maintaining a margin. So I think that when the Model 3 and Model Ys really kicked off, the price has already plummeted down to something like under $100 per kilowatt hour for most vehicles, as far as what the cost is to replace the battery or whatnot. So this is going to be, this is great. This is basically Tesla continuing to chase the holy grail of all electric vehicles, which is the less money you spend per kilowatt hour, the more affordable a vehicle becomes, because otherwise they're just luxury at 190 kilowatt hours for the gas tank size, so to speak.
You said the magic word there, that was margin. Because they could easily just keep the prices the same and pocket the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the day is coming where you can't make it a luxury vehicle that only sells, I don't know how to phrase it. I think that the day is coming where, the idea of paying extra for air conditioning is gone. Certain aspects of the vehicle are just expected. And if you're thinking that you can sell a 270-mile battery vehicle, they're like, you better figure out a way to produce it for cheaper, because otherwise someone's going to beat you at this point, because there are people already on it.
Yeah, 100%. That also goes into why, based on this report, almost half of all American EV owners are considering returning back to gas-powered vehicles. Don't know.
We spend fun on the show now.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Don't know how
accurate
that is. That's kind of the point of why I bring this up, is because one of the things that I hate so this is what I'll say. Whenever I post a video online, I always get that one guy that goes on there, and we've talked about this, the three of us, where he'll get on there and be like, why would you buy this car? You can't go through a car wash because it's going to brick. You can't do this. You're going to chop off your fingers, and there's all these reasons why the Cybertruck sucks, right? And none of it is like factual, like truly factual. Yeah, okay, maybe there's some cases, but it's usually just this these reports and things that people put out that aren't true. We've debunked a lot of them on this show, right?
Yep.
And yet people still believe them, because what is society nowadays? They just read headlines and they run with it. And so that's why when I came across this, I chuckled and I said, I have to bring it up on the podcast. And the reason for that is because people are going to read this and go, okay, this is 100% true. It says right here, according to McKinsey and Company 2024 Mobility Consumer Pulse Study. Okay, fair. I don't know who these people are, but I can write anything.
Hang on, leave that up for a second. What does that say? McKinley and...
Because I guarantee you they're leaving out part of the question.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you could easily ask the same question of like, do you own an EV? Yes. Okay. And if you could go back to an ICE car if it was cheaper or something, honestly, that would get the answer.
I found it, and it's something that we've complained about or would complain about on this show. So, it's definitely a provocation meme, because I've seen it so many times. I was like, there's no way. So I wanted to look into it because you just brought it up. So I just literally, the first article brought up the McKinsey and Company's 2024 Mobility Consumer Pulse Study revealed 46% of EV owners, well above worldwide average of 29%, but 46% of EV owners want to switch to gasoline cars. But the sentence goes on. That meme cuts it off at that point. The reason being, want to switch to gasoline cars because of the inadequate charging infrastructure. And that is still a valid issue. And I say that for the superchargers are the superchargers. They're not meant to be daily charging. Tesla and every other EV manufacturer tells you charging at higher voltages damages the battery or shortens the lifespan. So they tell people, just do level 2 charging overnight or whatever. Don't rely on level 3 or above. People still live in apartments. They still live and park their cars in places where they don't have control over the the ability to charge it overnight, which ostensibly is probably one of the biggest advantages to an electric vehicle, is charge it all night, wake up in the next morning with a full charge or full for you. So the fact that there are 46% makes me think that there's a significant number of people who would have thought there would have been more significant advancement in the ability to charge casually in apartments with or just nearby parking that you make arrangements to be able to charge, but none of that has happened, mostly because COVID and everything slowed down and now it's picking back up again. But it is a valid concern. But the thing that I would want to ask would be like, okay, so 46% want to switch to gasoline because of their inadequate charging infrastructure. Makes it sound like, okay, but how many of those were just poorly informed when they made their purchase? Like they were counting on something else changing or whatever. It seems like it's a loaded question, but I don't know.
No, I totally agree with you, and I think it's misleading from the standpoint of that the title, right? 46% of EV owners want to get rid of or want to switch back to gas, so that people will run with that information and go, "Oh, it's because EVs suck. They're no good. They're crappy cars." Well, no. The reason for that has nothing to do with the car. It has everything to do with the charging, right? And like you're saying, if you don't have a proper charging setup, then maybe you don't have that issue. I don't have that issue. I don't look at EVs and go, I don't want an EV because of the charging situation. I charge my car at home, and then when I go on road trips, I go to supercharge and I charge it. So I don't have any problems. And there's a lot of people that don't have that problem. But like you said, people that live in certain condos or apartment complexes or situations like that, yeah, it could become a problem. And they're also not talking to everybody who owns an EV, right? This is a study that do you still have that pulled up? Do you know how many people they polled and where they polled? That would be interesting.
It's probably like 100,
right?
Yeah.
They polled 100 people in an apartment complex.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to see if there's something.
I'm not saying that they did that, but it's just funny.
But it brings up a good point. Like with any other larger purchase, I feel like it's worth doing some research. Like even when I bought my F-150, like I still did my research to try to make sure that I'm going to be spending tens of thousands of dollars to make sure that it's going to be worth the cost, not only for upkeep but maintenance and all the other things. It kind of is something that you should go in with it with just proper knowledge.
So this other article that I'm seeing, I'm sorry, the rest of this article that I'm reading through, so it did press them further. It's like other reasons owners gave as to why they might switch back included the inability to charge at home was 24%. And that's literally still been thing. Like one of those, like what, like how is that not solved? Like EVs are not brand new. Like, the ability, the fact that if you want people driving cleaner vehicles, and it's like then make it so that they can work with their landlords or whoever to be able to charge on site at home. It's I don't know. It seems very
that would be
stressy.
Giving
but let's see,
a tax break to the landlord if you offer an EV charger.
They have them in some cities where they try to do them, but I mean, I can't speak to it. I'm not a landlord, but some of the other reasons that people gave was like the stress of worrying about charging is 21%. The stress of worry, all right, whatever, and the charging mobility requirement, charging mobility requirements. Oh, because you can only drive to like areas where there is charging available that you could track. So therefore, I mean, it's just the same thing. It's still the lack of support for charging that's out there. Only 13% said that they did not enjoy the driving experience. So that's 13%. So that's 87% of electric vehicle owners enjoy the vehicle, but charging and I feel like it's fair enough to just be like, it's just a culture change. It's
I think
coming
that's
from
the
gas vehicles to an electric vehicle. It does require some extra brain power because, you do have to kind of think, okay, well, I'm going to drive this far, if you're road tripping or whatnot. But I don't know. It doesn't really require that much math. Just get home and plug the damn thing in.
Does it break down the type of EV owner? Because it feels like something that I would hear from someone who bought like a Chevy Bolt or something.
No.
That would make things a lot more difficult. I think that's where Tesla has separated themselves, and the reason why Ford and Rivian and all the Mercedes and I know GM at some point they're all jumping on NACS and the supercharger network is because that is the most convenient, most reliable.
Getting them on the supercharger network would overnight heal a lot of their accessibility and the charging mobility requirements. That's 16%. because if you're driving a Kia or Hyundai or something else, and you got to drive a little bit further than usual, or you forgot to plug in the night before and you have to go run extra errands, and now you're kind of getting low. Now you're going to get stressed out because you got to look for a level 3 charger that specifically handles what your car can do or whatever, versus Tesla, where you're just like, where's the nearest one? Okay, go. That kind of heals itself if you got a lot more other manufacturers that are able to do it.
100%. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the logical segue would be forget Sony and their upcoming EV vehicle, because 46% of people that buy it are going to hate it, so they're going to want to return it.
Yeah.
But I think this is a very interesting. I don't know if this will ever be put into production, just because you see a lot of crazy vehicles, but has this screen up in the front that you can customize. It has facial recognition to open up the doors. Has a lot of ambient lighting, speakers in the headrest. Huge center screen that you can actually play PlayStation 5 games on.
All right.
You can watch movies.
Jump into The Last of Us. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
Sony.
Yeah, it's Sony, right? I mean, you have to look. There's rear screens in the back of the vehicle. Really cool car. I would love to see this actually hit the market and be something readily available that people could purchase. Don't know if that will be the case, but I thought I came across this a couple days ago, and I thought that it was really cool and something to share.
Do you think they'll go luxury market? I mean, because it's only a sedan. I'm not really sure what that price point would be like.
Well, one thing you notice is that it shows on there that Honda is involved in this, right? So it's a Honda vehicle with the Sony brains is what it seems like, what it is. So yeah, price point, what would that look like? Considering it is a Honda vehicle, and Hondas aren't necessarily known to be super expensive. So do they want to keep that Honda price point? Obviously increase that a little bit because of the technology, but are they going to get into the 100,000? Because I mean, you look at that and you can sit there and make an argument that's $100,000 plus vehicle. I hope if it comes out that it's not, because I think they could sell a lot of them.
I mean, I could strap a TV to my Cybertruck's screen and put a PlayStation 5 in there.
But see,
I could play Last of Us.
But no, that's valid. That's super valid, though, because you've got Sony horning into the Sony Entertainment interior, and people like us having the comment to be like, yeah, I've got a PS5 in my living room. If I'm road tripping, I can just put it in my car. Sony, try harder. What else do you guys have? The problem is always that, manufacturing at scale is expensive and difficult and very rarely happens. Production on a small scale, like what Sony can do, what all these prototype vehicles can do, there's an interest in it. And it's like the fact that it still only pumps out like $200,000 vehicles because of their low volume will be kind of a tripping point. But it's like, I want to see more competition in that space, because it's like fashion. You've got all these random companies coming up with weird things, whatever, and all of a sudden one of them sticks. One of them goes, oh, crap, and then it becomes de facto. Everybody has to do it. I love seeing this crap, because for years it was like, check out the new Chrysler Boring. It's got windshield wipers. It's like, fuck dumb, man. Like you said, we did a road trip to Las Vegas, what was it, a couple months ago, and I put the PlayStation 5 in the back. I plugged it into the outlet at the bottom. I had screens up. The kids were jamming on the PlayStation hilarious. 5. It's something we can do now. Sony, do something better. Come on.
I don't disagree with you, but don't you think that, aren't we at the point where, why doesn't Tesla just give us like an HDMI input? And why don't they give us the ability to just do that with the integrated screens that we have? Why do we have to bring screens? We shouldn't have to. There's already a huge screen in the middle. Obviously, don't let, you can't use it for anything while driving, but when you're at a supercharger, why not be able to plug the PlayStation in and just use that screen? Why not let the kids use the rear screen
Yeah.
for that purpose while you're driving. Why should I have to bring screens? We're past that, aren't we?
That's it. I feel, and that's kind of the space that we're in, I think, where it's like, oh, screens in the back of your car, that must be like really expensive. And it's like, no, it was less than $200 on Amazon. It was dirt cheap, and we already had the PlayStation 5. It's not ultra luxury to do cool shit with your computers and your electronics. So let's do some cooler shit, you know?
Yeah.
It's almost like they've gotten the big head like Apple, where it's like, okay, I'm not going to switch to USB-C because I don't have to.
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of stubbornness that comes at scale.
Tesla, I mean, like honestly, the Tesla UI, the interface has been like ever since they had that big change over the holiday a couple years ago, you know, and they've stuck with this UI that they have, and then they changed to the horizontal UI that the Cybertruck now kind of changed with its own thing. For the most part, it's always been like this battle of the most boring use of real estate on these screens as opposed to letting users actually own and use the thing. I've thought that's like even the vertical screens could have benefited. I don't need the map all the damn time. Let me make it a widget where I can move it and move it around the screen, make it smaller if I want.
Right.
Just multiple screens. None of that kind of functionality has shown up in any of Tesla's vehicles. And I'm like, I feel like they've been ready for an app store since like 2019, but they still just don't seem to go that way.
But Will, I can move my rear view mirror from one position to another.
Hey, don't get me started on that rear view mirror, okay? You don't want to do that, okay?
Just don't use your turn signals either. Just put your hand out the window and then do the whole like bicycle thing, with your turn signals. You don't need those cameras either way.
Yeah, Jay was in chat earlier asking if we seen the guy that installed a rear view mirror camera.
I did,
and it's like, don't get me started. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole again. I've done that too many times. That is really a big gripe of mine. That and the garage door my Q thing. I can't stand it.
Fair.
It literally. So I picked up my Cybertruck today from Tesla service, and one of the issues was I had some rattling in the headliner, right? So my lights at delivery didn't work. They fixed it. It literally was just they weren't plugged in. So they removed the headliner to repair that. And ever since that service, I get a rattle. So I finally took it in yesterday, and they fixed the rattle. But in the notes with my service overview or whatever they call it, in the notes for that particular issue, it states on there that they replaced some clips and they did some things, but that they noticed that I had my garage door remote up on my visor, and that they noticed that was rattling a little bit. And in the notes, it states for them to show me how to set up my garage door opener through the screen, which, by the way, they never did. But the fact that, like, it's like, but no, I can't do that because I don't have my Q, and I shouldn't have to have my Q. I should just be able to just. I mean, I just don't.
It reminds me of if like Jay and Hugo probably knows as like an OG listener when I had the strange ringing in my truck, which is basically just some electronic ear pro that I left on and that was getting feedback constantly. I still wish I would have taken it in for the service appointment that I scheduled, so they could walk in and see me like, oh, we found the problem, and holding my headphones in their hand.
Yeah, don't these guys. But
meanwhile, I'm there like, where are my lug nuts?
Right? And
it's
they didn't
rattling.
The first
it's the fug nuts.
But at which point taken, I lost one this last week.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I
sent that photo and I was like, hey, I'm joining the club.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I literally walked out and looked down. I'm like, oh, there's one missing. And one of the reasons I didn't
notice that.
Yeah,
I saw the
one
picture
of the reasons.
and I didn't notice the. Yeah, I gotta
hide your wife, hide your lug nuts.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my!
I didn't realize that one was missing. I saw the picture and I was just like, why is he sending a picture of his wheels? I mean, it looks great.
That's the problem. Yeah. It's so easy to kind of not. I mean, you look at your wheels all the time. How many times do you count the lug nuts?
And you have the cover on there, so the cover and everything.
The cover helps a little bit, and that's the reason why I wanted to get the cover. Not because I knew about the lug nuts or anything, but I was like, hey, just the cover does help in that situation. Yeah, I was missing, and then I had a mini panic attack because I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I got plans this weekend, yada yada, and then ended up going to the auto parts store and found lug nuts that were the same size and just replaced one. So also today I took it to Discount Tire. So pro tip for anyone who has vehicles, Discount Tire actually offers free tire rotations, which I had no idea. And I'm coming up on 10,000 miles, so I definitely was due for a good rotation. And I knew that as long as I had all my lug nuts and I take it to them, they would at least tighten it to spec because that's what they do all day.
Yeah.
So now it's good.
Nice.
We're good to go.
Nice.
And it was kind of fun for them to try to figure out how to jack this thing up because they got it into jack mode, and then these guys were like underneath looking at it. They're trying to figure out like where to even place the jack because like it's not that obvious. And I had to pull up the manual to show there's a diagram that shows exactly the points where the jack points for each corner is, because what they'll do if they're like really busy in this case, they didn't even pull it into the bay. They just had it in the parking lot. And they just jacked it up with 4 jacks and then did the rotation real quick.
Well, I mean, you lost a lug nut, but things could have been worse for you, Chase.
Could have lost 4.
You could have lost
3.
4, or your motor could have went out.
Good segue. Yeah.
So, so here's the Kilowatts, who's a well-known Tesla, page and channel that they went to the X takeover, which sadly I wasn't able to attend, but they said that their rear motor disabled 30 minutes into their 4-hour drive home.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing this a little bit more and more, right? We're hearing about some motor issues on the Cybertruck. We talked about last week how, Kyle, from Out of Spec, when he took his into service, that they wanted to do a test and give him a new motor. I speculated at that time, and I'm really starting to speculate that it's not speculation anymore. I really truly believing that because of who he is and the influence that he has, when his name came up on a service appointment, they went, hey, put in a new motor for him so his doesn't go bad and he doesn't make some content about it.
Yeah.
Because ever since then, at the time we were thinking, oh, it's an efficiency thing. They want to give him a new motor and they're going to start doing this for people. I don't think that's what the case was. I think it's more having to do with they have found an issue with the rear motor on the Cybertruck and they're trying to get ahead of it with him. So there's no bad content, but there's other people that are reporting bad motors going out. And I just got back from Vegas and I was freaking out, thinking I don't want to go on this trip and something bad happened to me. So any Cybertruck owners, be aware that this seems to be an upcoming issue or an issue that's happening more and more, and hopefully it doesn't happen to anybody, but it's out there.
Which I'm trying to find it now, but I believe that I asked on that thread what his VIN was, and I believe it's pretty low. If you can find it. Because that's also something else I'm kind of tracking with this, is that it seems to be mostly lower VINs that are getting these messages sent to them. Oh yeah, there we go. Right there at the bottom. Right here.
Yeah, you didn't get
didn't answer. Pleb, I guess I am. Trying
but
to
look right here,
journalism here.
Yeah, but Tim Hoyer right here, he states, isn't that the motor that Tesla was offering a swap out on?
Bingo.
Or was it in the front? I heard something from Kyle Connor saying Tesla was offering him swap out. And Kilowatts says, I think it's the same one. Tesla is offering to tow it to the closest service center and isn't willing to tow to San Francisco, so we carry on.
Yeah, because he came from out of town.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, Tim Hoyer hits it on the head. They offered Kyle his swap, and, I wonder why they did that. And I think this is why.
You gotta have to hit that Tesla Premium Executive Service once you get so many X followers.
Apparently. And I don't have any X followers because.
So everybody subscribe Eric so that he can hit that VIP white glove level.
Yeah, right.
No, I think Chase is closer to that than me.
Nah, I wasn't even going to bring it up, but since you mentioned, there was some weird things going on the last couple of days that I noticed. So I was watching my follower account because I noticed I was like, oh, it was like one number. I thought it was like it's 447 right now. Not bragging because that's not a lot. but it was
On
at
X?
4:30 on X. Yeah, it was at 4:30.
All right, I'm gonna bring
And
mine
then I
up,
remember-
okay? You're trying to challenge me.
I looked at my follower account, and then it went down, but it was like by a chunk. I'm like, oh, it was like 4:20, 28, and then an hour later it was like 4:18, and I'm like, shit, what did I say? Like, why are people unfollowing me? And then it went back up to like 4:33, and then went down again, and then went back up again. Like it's really weird, and there wasn't any like follow notifications where like I would see like 10 or 20 followers. I just wasn't getting those notifications, so it was really weird. I don't know if anyone knows anything about X or if they've got like bots issues or whatever. I don't know. It's just weird.
No, you're kicking my
really
butt
care
as
either
far
way.
as followers go. So
My X is not my source of income. I don't like to grift on X, so I don't really need it. But you know how it is.
All right, Chase is
But no,
Chase is
so-
getting feisty.
Back to the dead motor. I did contact. There is another owner here in Austin that's got a low 500 VIN, and he also got the message, but he hasn't swapped out his motor yet. So definitely, I'll keep in contact with him and make sure if anything.
So
like that
he
happens.
got the message to do a swap
to
out.
swap his yes,
Interesting.
and he doesn't
Yeah.
have that many followers. I don't think.
Well,
So I don't think he's
someone
got
that
the
I
white
would.
glove service.
Yeah, we need to find out from him what that is. So he hasn't made the appointment to have that.
I take
happen.
that back. He's got 1,800 followers. Maybe he does have the white glove service.
Okay. Well, got a
We'll
lot
see.
more than me.
I'll keep tuned. I'll keep posted.
How many followers do I have?
So we have a comment from Bo Family EV. He's saying it's when they clear out the bots.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Like, which makes sense. But then I wasn't seeing enough like refollows or new followers to make up the difference. Like it was odd.
Wow, I got 347 followers. What?
On
There you go.
X.
Yeah. What am I doing?
You guys are both kicking my butt. But you know what? I don't post on X. I literally just use X for me to look at content and look at
Mhm.
things. I don't post anything. Like if you look at mine,
I use it to get-
haven't posted in months.
I use it to get mad. So maybe maybe I've earned some followers. I just go on there and read some of the stupidest things I've ever fed in my life, and I'm just like so mad, and I just like reply something dumb.
It's probably not like good content for this podcast, but a great idea that I heard someone say this week is that we should go on to like a podcast or video or whatever, and then everyone pull out their phones and see their algorithms, like see each other's algorithm, and then try to guess who it is by their
Oh
algorithm.
my god,
But yeah,
that has possibility.
I wanted to show you guys this. It's a wrap, but this isn't going to be the wrap of the week. But this is, if it can come up.
if it's what I think you're right. There's
Let me see if I'm
a
having
bit of
some trouble.
controversy in the Discord about this.
But yeah, why isn't this thing coming up? All right, we're gonna move on from that until it loads. I don't know what's going on with it, but
Okay.
let's go ahead and let me get into what were they thinking really quick. This was pretty funny to me. I was actually laughing when I seen this. So there was a Cybertruck driving, right? I'm gonna paint the picture for those who aren't watching.
Right.
There's a Cybertruck driving down. I don't know where this is at, and there's a gentleman in a Hellcat Durango, which is a very fast variant of the Durango.
Philadelphia.
And it's Philadelphia. He turns around, makes a U-turn, tracks down the Cybertruck, and wants to race them. So they take off, and the Cybertruck absolutely destroys them.
Yeah.
So what were they thinking was, what the heck were you thinking? I mean, you really thought you were going to beat a Cybertruck? I don't understand that. Like, Cybertrucks are competing with some of the fastest cars in the world, and nothing bad about a Hellcat, but you're not a Cybertruck. So
I just want to know if it was a dual motor or not.
Yeah.
that would
Which
be
I still
interesting.
think a dual motor would whip a Durango for
I
sure.
think so too.
I
Yeah,
think so.
too.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Especially
that
off the bat.
it's always for content. I mean, it's that gamble of, okay, yeah, you smoked me, yeah, I suck, whatever, still like and subscribe. Versus if they accidentally somehow do beat a Cybertruck or goad some idiot into crashing it.
Yeah.
Content money for day.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
show me
You
that
can do
video,
something
you know?
stupid.
Yeah,
Well,
you know.
I had that actually happen. So we were talking about that photo that I took with the light bar. When I was coming home from that, long story short, there was a photo shoot. It went long. Either way, coming home late, and a super bike had like passed by me and kind of whipped around in between the cars and then sped by. Another one I noticed in my rearview mirror is coming up with no lights on, completely blacked out.
You're sorry, Chase, but your rear view screen.
Yes, the
Okay.
rear view screen. It was
Okay.
difficult to see him because it wasn't a rear view mirror. The rear view screen, I see this guy come up with Superbike without lights on, all blacked out gear and all that, and he goes over and sits in my like front what is it, blind spot, and he's doing something like over here with his hand, and I can't really tell because it seems like he wants to race me, either that or he was giving me a thumbs down, which I really couldn't see anyway, so kind of jokes on him. But I was like, it's 12:30 at night, we're on the highway, like it's a spot that if I wanted to race him I could, but it wasn't worth it. But what I did do is actually just slow down pretty quickly and flip on the lights and blasted him with light because he didn't have any lights on, and he was the one that was really riding dangerously, and then he just got off at the next exit. So
there you go.
Random. Maybe think about that.
I grew up in Florida, and I learned to drive in Florida, which has prepared me for the world, because after leaving Florida, I moved to New York for a brief period, and I was literally driving box trucks around Manhattan. You learn no fear when it comes to driving in Florida. So shout out to anybody who dares. As you saw, I'm sure, Eric.
Yes, I did.
But one thing, I have turned down many a fool in traffic who, for some reason, wanted to race me in my '89 Chevy Blazer or whatever I was driving. So yeah, it's don't get suckered into, like, dear listener, you are not a race car driver. This is Will with just a tip. You are not a race car driver. You may win a race, but you can't afford to lose the race. So why bother? It's like, enjoy the damn car. You are not a racer. All right? There. Just the tip. And be careful of Florida.
Yeah, I'll give some validity to that. I rented a vehicle in Orlando, and holy shit. The deposit that you need if you're going to rent a vehicle without like a return flight or any of that kind of information, like $500.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Cash. Like, stupid.
Yep. Florida's wild.
if you are going to be racing, though, okay, and we don't condone that, but if you are going to be racing, you need to be safe. And if in the event something happens to you, you can now be saved by the first EMS Cybertruck emergency vehicle. So they can come out and save you from all of the injuries that you may have incurred from your racing. So yeah, I seen this. This is cool. Look, it has a light bar up top with some red and blue lighting, some lights down low. Pretty cool wrap. And apparently this is in New Jersey. This is driving around and helping people with their emergencies.
Great use of the roof top feed as well as the front feed. That's probably the power of the lights.
Yeah,
they got lights on the sides. They got it's all tricked out. So
they ran the wiring in the creases to be able to do that, I'm sure.
I will say, I think this is cool, I think this is an influencer of some sort. I'm not sure if it's an actual EMS vehicle, but the question did come up even in the Discord of like, is this even viable? And I think we can talk about that. It's like, I think it's very much a good thing to have, not just for the fact of the utility of having extra power for whatever you need, but the fact that it's like semi bulletproof, I think is a great thing to have in an EMS vehicle, because half the time they're just running around in those like Sprinter vans that are just big tin cans.
Big trash cans.
Yeah. And it's off-road capable. Like, that is like, when have you seen outside of like the big F-350 like fire truck ones of an off-road capable EMS vehicle?
100%. Yeah, it's a super capable vehicle, so you know that you're going to be able to get to your destination. I mean, and all you got to do is put a shell in the back if you really want to deal with if you want to put injured people in the back. So
you can fit two stretchers in the bed.
Yeah,
or not stretchers, 100%. But you know what I mean, like just flats.
But so that's a cool wrap. I thought about doing that as the wrap of the week, but instead I have a different wrap of the week, and this was something that we've been sitting on for a little bit. We haven't done it. I know you got Will excited, so we're gonna go ahead and use it as the wrap of the week.
Hell
like I said,
yeah.
I know a lot of people have probably seen this one before, but we haven't got around to awarding it the wrap of the week. But I mean, you know, Chase is a video game guy.
Worked on Halo 2, the remaster.
Did you really?
Hey, yeah.
See, so
Master
there you
Chief's
go.
got a special place in my heart.
There you go. So now, this, you know what, Will, this is what we can do. We can do our karaoke on the way to Chase's, and we could put Master Chief in the back with his turret.
Damn right. Yeah. He's just letting off 7.62 rounds as we go across. Yeah,
there
beauty.
you go. And the kids would love it, like you said.
America.
So, yeah, so that's a really cool wrap, as always. You know, the creativity, things that people are doing, and Cybertruck is perfect, the perfect warthog, right? So,
and obviously the Master Chief in the back is all CGI, but it makes the photo.
Yes, it does. I don't know why you had to say that, Chase. I mean, Chase,
I don't know.
Kind of ruins the fun a little bit.
Demonetize.
Mute him. Cut his feed.
I don't know. All right, he's gone.
There's a backstage.
Yeah. Oh my goodness!
You don't want to look back there.
Wow.
Holy shit!
Wow.
Don't go back there.
So yeah, that's everything I got, guys, for today. I don't know if you guys have anything else that you guys want to touch on.
It's been a slow couple of weeks. I mean, you know, it's kind of I think that this is the cadence that people are used to more so in the before 4 times with Tesla. It's like, yeah, they go through periods of some pretty solid hype and you know, pumping stuffs up, and then sometimes you just gotta wait. You gotta wait a little while.
And that wouldn't be the case because right now we would be a week away from 8.8, right? The Robotaxi event.
Yeah.
Right now we'd be all hyped up. We'd be talking about all this, you know, anticipation, speculation. Will and I would be trying to get off the podcast so we can start our road trip over to you know, the event, but instead we are having Chase ruin.
We'll do it live. We'll have the podcast while we're driving.
That's another thing we didn't mention is the confirmation of full self-driving with 12.5 coming to Cybertruck in hopefully a couple weeks. Elon mentioned mid-August, so who knows if that'll be mid-August or not.
Yeah, so we didn't talk about that. So Elon at X Takeover over the weekend video conferenced in, right? Which was, people weren't expecting that, so that was great that he was able to do that, and made me even hate the fact more that I wasn't able to attend. But he did mention, the question was, when are Cybertruck owners expected to get FSD? And he stated, always, you know, it's in Elon time, but he stated mid-August, which obviously he said end of June. That didn't happen, but now he's saying mid-August. So I'm really, really hoping that he, you know, honors that and is able to deliver on that, because, you know, once again, I just came back from Vegas this past weekend, and I would have loved to have had full self-driving, but
I hope so too, because I had a nice little surprise. I saw Farzad popped up in my Turo notifications, and he's going to rent out the truck to go on a date night here soon.
When is that?
Hopefully,
do you know?
It's sometime roughly, I think late next week, sometime. So we'll see. We'll see if it comes in time, but hopefully it does.
Oh, he would love that.
Yeah, I know. Me and him, he already reached out.
There won't be a date night.
I don't know if because he actually said that when I do get it, that we'll probably do a video together of the full self driving, because he's curious to see the full self driving and Tesla, the Cybertruck, obviously. But I have not done it at all yet since like 2018. So it'll be a very interesting first reaction.
I'm gonna put you on the spot, Chase. Okay, and we have millions upon millions of listeners. As a matter of fact,
dozens of us.
There's going to be ads. I just skipped the ads for the live people. I just skipped them right now, so you're welcome, guys, because we need Chase. We're holding Chase to the fire. So Chase is very good friends of Farzad. If you guys don't know, Farzad is one of the white glove influencers in the Tesla community. And so what you're stating is that Farzad has told you that once FSD comes out for the Cybertruck, he wants to make a video with you.
Yes.
With your Cybertruck, because he doesn't have a Cybertruck.
Yes.
Can you agree to that, but he needs to agree to come on the podcast.
I think you do that.
You got to get him.
I think so. I think we can make this happen. Yeah, because
Yeah?
he's nice enough. Yeah, I think I could swindle this one for sure. Because
Okay.
I've done him a solid already, so I think we're good to call it in.
Okay. All right.
You heard it here first.
All the what do we have right now? We got 4.5 million viewers right now.
Do we want to like dedicate a whole episode just for him, like a do special guest?
We will do whatever he wants. We will roll out the red carpet for him. Yeah, 100%. I would love to get him on here and talk to him, and
especially after seeing full self-driving in the Cybertruck, I think would be perfect.
That would be actually great, because by that point I probably have it right, hopefully, and then so I'll be able to do some content on it. You guys are able to do some content on it. We could come back, do a podcast on it, and really just kind of share our experiences with it. And I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%. Let's do it.
All right, guys. Well,
cool.
Thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Hugo, Jay, LJ, Chris Bowie, everybody that came by and jumped into the chat. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm sorry, but Slim Tech, we appreciate you as well. Everyone, thank you, and we will see you guys next week.
Yeah.
See you.